episode 8 of the Teeth Time podcast, and I am really excited to sit down with yet another guest. Tehaum Saood is a third-year dental student at the Arizona School of Dentistry and Oral Health, and he's sitting down with me today to discuss his dental journey, why he decided to make a YouTube channel, and where he plans to go in his future. Like me, Tehaum makes YouTube videos and has his very own podcast, and he calls it all OneMissionDMD. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Teeth Time. So Tehaum, welcome to the Teeth Time podcast, my man. Super happy to have you. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me, bro. I'm doing great. Can't wait to get this stuff going.
Good stuff. All right, so why don't you just go ahead and give us a brief introduction, who you are, what you're up to, and kind of how we came across each other and how we're making this happen today.
Right, of course. So my name is Tehaum Saood. I'm a current third-year dental student at the Arizona School of Dentistry and Oral Health. I'm originally from Houston, so I made the big move from Houston to Arizona. How I came across your channel and your content, it was just naturally through YouTube, bro. I just, saw, we have a very small niche of people in this community. So I think it shouldn't come to a surprise if we come across each other. So I kind of wanted to expect, and I was happy to come across your channel. It was very organic. It was very you. And I just really enjoyed the stuff that you had to share to everyone. So yeah, just currently in my third year that I just started, and it's pretty exciting because we just started working on patients. So that's a whole nother thing to get into later, probably.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the kind words, and yeah, we connected a while back, I believe, and it's similar to my experience with Jack Hahn, who I also had on the show. We connected a while ago, and I was like, I know that someday I want to collaborate with this dude. And the same thing was happened with you. We've been talking about just any sort of podcast episode, whether it was for you or for me or both. And finally, I got my stuff together and invited you on, and I appreciate your willingness and openness to coming on here and talking with me and hopefully some of my listeners. So yeah, man, the same goes for you. I think the dental school YouTube space is definitely small, but it's growing. I mean, every year we have more people that are kind of joining on and starting to give their opinions and their thoughts. And I think it's awesome because every time I see somebody new popping up, I think it's only going to help grow this and help bring more people into both dentistry and also into our space, our creative space. So absolutely, man. And your videos are awesome as well. Super informative. So I wanted to ask, have you always, I guess this isn't something that you plan maybe, but when did you kind of decide that you wanted to give pre-dental advice and you wanted to do the whole YouTube thing?
That's a good question. Honestly, bro, I knew I wanted to do this since undergrad.
Okay.
Nice. Exactly. I just never thought I was in the moment of my life to be able to do that. I didn't feel like in undergrad I had much to offer at that point.
Right.
Because, I was just a pre-dental student myself. I'm figuring things out along the way. But, I even told myself once I got into dental school that, okay, that time's coming where I can help people out. But even at that point, for myself personally, I can't speak for anyone else. I just felt like I needed to prove to myself that I could even make it past the first year. Because there's
Absolutely.
so many expectations, and this because you just finished your first year. There's a lot of hurdles, and there's a lot of things that people don't talk about when it comes to dental school, the failures or the remediations or just the constant pressure. So I actually started my YouTube channel during quarantine after the first semester kind of went by on a high note. And but ironically, my grades kind of did suffer a little bit in that second semester. So then that's why I think I told you I took a break again for 2-3 months. But yeah, once I started kind of going along the process and seeing that, hey, I think I can do this, then I kind of, put it upon myself to try to get out a video every week or every other week just to kind of help people out.
Absolutely. And I've had very similar experiences with it. That's actually something that Haley Schultz and I talked about as well, was the idea that you feel before you're accepted to dental school and before, you have this sort of natural built-in level of authority, in a sense, you feel like maybe you shouldn't put yourself out there because you have nothing to say really. And that was my thing. I was like, my first video is gonna be the day I get accepted. Lord willing, I do get accepted, right? But that was my plan. And Haley, interestingly, kind of went about it a different way and actually just started in her undergrad experience, which I think is cool as well.
She did, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but you know, all of us have the same thing, and I think what you just said is so perfect because I've experienced all of that as well. I mean, I've now done a full year of dental school. I just finished 2 days ago, actually.
Congrats,
and
bro.
Thank you, my friend. And you know, what an accomplishment, what a ride it's been already. And I'm really happy that I decided to pick the camera back up last year in I think maybe October, September, somewhere around there. And just started filming again because it goes by really fast, and before you know it, you have all of this content out there of just everything that you're going through. And sometimes I look back at my old videos already, and I'm like, wow, that was 6 months ago. That was this, and I'm already so much further along. And you know, yesterday I posted a video. I realized I filmed a class 2 in 4K and put it on YouTube for everybody to see and judge. And I was like, what am I doing?
I saw that video.
It wasn't even that good of a prep. And I'm like, what am I doing? But at the same time, like, it's awesome to see just how far you come. And I think that's the cool thing for us personally. Like a lot of what we do is to try to help other people, help younger students. But at the same time, we get this added benefit of seeing our own personal growth through our own content. So your stuff is awesome. And I guess kind of a follow-up question on the same YouTube topic. Do you have kind of plans for your future with it? Where do you see it taking you?
Yeah, so like, you know, when I made the channel, I didn't want it to be strictly just pre-dental. And I had this vision, and I got inspiration from Future DDS. I'm sure you might be familiar with them, where, you know, they kind of laid out this entire roadmap where they're not just talking about how to get in dental school, they're talking about how to stay in dental school. What are the things that happen while you're in dental school? What does it look like, you know, for a fourth year when they're looking into jobs? So my vision is kind of similar to that in terms of I wanted to kind of play out the journey someone can go, you know, through before getting into dental school, while they're in dental school, and after. So, you know, like after dental school, or even, you know, in my fourth year, I'm kind of excited about that because of the externship. So I think the vlogs are going to be a little bit more engaging and, you know, just encouraging for people if they're interested in going to dental school. Because, you know, traveling incorporated into a vlog can just, you know, take it to the next level, I think. So, you know, just going from there and then having just the employment outlook after dental school and like the different avenues a student can go into, I think that's kind of give a complete picture, and that's kind of what I'm going for on my channel.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think all of us have sort of, we all hope that our content grows with us, and we all hope that we can just continue making it and see where it takes us. I'm the same way. I mean, I have kind of this idea of what I'd like to do with my channel in the future, but at the same time, I think as we grow and we change, you know, you just kind of never know what it's going to bring to you. And that's the cool thing about it, is the possibilities are endless. So I always commend people who are putting themselves out there like that, because I know it's difficult. Yeah. It's difficult, obviously, from a practical perspective, especially considering how busy we are. But it's also difficult because, at least for me, like putting myself out there and trying to be like the quote influencer type, which was never my objective. It's a little strange. It hasn't come super naturally to me. But I think it's a really positive thing, and I can tell that just from seeing comments from younger students about how much we're impacting them. So, yeah, and I feel the same way about all of that. I wanted to ask you. So are you now in your third year officially?
So our school's kind of different because we actually have summer semesters too. So They actually put us in the clinic, and we're doing everything we would in our third year before the summer. So we're doing everything that we would do once that summer of D3 year actually starts. Technically, the current new D4s at our class, they're referring to themselves as D4s now because like they just started their external rotations. So, you know, it's actually officially on paper, like on the transcript, going to start in the summer. which is in like literally less than a month now. But we're all pretty much doing exactly what we would do once that summer starts. So I just entered my D3 year right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, ours is slightly different. I think it's just a little bit more, at least it has been for D1 year. It was a little bit more of like your classic, 2 semesters for the entire year. And we had a final that just ended the first year. And so now we have a couple weeks of summer break, which is actually awesome. I think this might be our biggest break left for all of dental school, because we have basically a month now of time off, which is not going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen again. So I'm going to try to enjoy it. I'm trying to do a little bit of a content push too, because I know I'm going to have free time here. So I'm really excited to just put some stuff out. But I wanted to ask you, what are some of your overall thoughts on the differences between the first year of dental school and the second? I know you said that you kind of waited it out for YouTube to start until after your first year so that you could kind of figure out dental school in general, which I like that. So what do you kind of think, maybe some of the challenges, just some of the differences that you've faced in both years?
Right. That's a good question. Well, first off, I know you said you have that month off and you're going to try to make use of it with the content push. But I think what you could also do is just brainstorm, just think about what you could do too, because that helps a lot, because planning videos, as you know, I'm sure takes a while. So that even if you don't make the content, planning out the content, months in advance can really push it forward for you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, in terms of the difference between D1 and D2 year, D1 year is heavy just on the didactic science material when you first get in. And then they're kind of slowly introducing you guys with operative dentistry, which I think you said you just completed, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. But when it comes to second year, you can kind of expect the same, but a little bit, if not equal, didactic in sim clinic, a little bit more sim clinic over the didactic. So you're going to be in the sim clinic way more, because this is the last year you're going to be in sim clinic before you go into the patient clinic. And there will be moments where, if you haven't felt that already, where you might have that doubt in terms of can I even do this? For me, that happened in fixed prosthodontics, actually, where you learn how to make crown preps. It's just a challenging thing to learn, because when you're in operative dentistry, you're focusing on one aspect of the tooth, right? The occlusal surface for the most part. Unless you're doing a class 5, which is, just a little different. But what made fixed prosthodontics challenging for me was I had to touch every millimeter of the tooth, the whole thing. You can't leave anything out, and it was challenging for me because I had to remediate a couple of things in that course. But I think that's just the most challenging part about D2 year. You're really gonna fix your hand skills more than you ever did in your first year. And the good thing about it is you'll be improving yourself in operative dentistry through fixed prosthodontics without even knowing it. And the reason for that is because when you're working on this entire tooth right here, every single millimeter of it, and then when you're taken back to, do a class 2 here now, it's it's going to go much quicker for you. It's going to go so much faster, and you'll feel confident in other parts of, just operative dentistry without even having done practice for operative strictly. So fixed prosthodontics, I think, was the hardest course for myself, and my entire class, actually. My entire class agrees with that too. So just expect a lot more hands-on time in the sim clinic, and less science, less, didactic material. I think that it's exciting though, right? I think you'd rather do that than science classes. So yeah,
absolutely. And I've always felt that I was not super predisposed to just being great at sitting down and taking a science course, honestly. And this is a tough profession to get into if you're not great at that. But I've always felt more inspired and excited by the physical aspects of dentistry, because that's what we're doing with every day in the future. And I don't know how much. I almost feel like it doesn't get talked about enough, just how difficult dentistry is. So my dad's a dentist. He's 68 years old. He's been a dentist for 40 years. And he still comes home every single day and just talks about what a challenge it was. Because you're constantly having to learn, and you're constantly having to push yourself to get better. just with your own limitations, and also just every patient is different. When we're in the sim clinic, every patient is the same because our patient is a mannequin.
Exactly.
And plastic teeth. There's no saliva. There's no open and closing. There's no blood. There's nothing like that. So it's a very sterile environment. But every patient in real life has different teeth, different anatomy, and different challenges. And I think dentistry as a profession can be very, very difficult. And a lot of people, I don't know if they expect that. So I experienced it a few times in my first year, especially towards the beginning when we started cutting in the maxilla. I've talked about this in the past, but it was so frustrating for me to try to learn how to cut in a mirror, and I still am not great at it. And I mean, yeah, like there was a few times where I was ready to just cry because I was like, I just can't do this.
Exactly.
And they're expecting us to have it done, and I can't do this. And of course, I call my dad and I'm telling him about it, and he's just like, son, you just started. Like you just started. You can't expect to know how to do this. It's an extremely difficult thing that people take years to figure out, and you just started. And he was absolutely right. And I saw great improvement in my hand skills just in my first year, especially in the second semester. And I think a lot of it has to do with just the amount of hours that you put into it. Your brain starts to naturally form those connections, and you start to feel so much better about it, to the point now where, like, if I'm cutting in the mandible, anything, I feel very, very proficient. It used to take me ages to do a class 2. Now I could do one easily in like 10-ish minutes, which is even slow compared to what somebody who's practicing dentistry would do. So I think it's awesome to hear that, though, because I'm very excited to continue pushing with the hand stuff. It's always been fun for me, and I think it's one of the reasons why I was drawn to dentistry. How was endo for you? Did you guys took endo this semester or this year, right?
Yeah, we took that towards the beginning of our second year. That was so much fun, bro. That was
really
so cool. Yeah, it was probably my favorite course in sim clinic, I can say.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Then people started asking me, "Oh, so are you considering endo then?" As a specialty, I'm like, nah, I'm trying to just be a general dentist, honestly.
Good stuff.
But it was so cool, like in our school, we were told to collect teeth before we started dental school for endo, pretty much. Right. So we, put them on these little special mannequin little inserts, and then we cemented them in so that when we work on them, they don't move, right? So we, worked through making the access points for our endo teeth, and we were given the gutta percha material that's used. It's this natural material that comes from trees. And you just pack it in, and like just the whole process. I actually have a vlog on endo if you want to check it out. I don't know if you checked it out, but it's pretty cool. You can kind of get an idea in terms of what to expect with endo when you start. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
First off, I'm terrible about multiple things. I'm terrible about watching other creators' content that I actually really enjoy, because I feel like I just never go on and check. And I'm also really, really bad at responding to Instagram messages. Like I'm terrible at it. And I feel awful because I have people ask me questions all the time, and it could take me up to like 2 weeks to respond, and I feel so bad about that. But yeah, so I'm excited about endo. My dad loves endo. It's like his favorite thing to do. And I feel like a common consensus in dentistry is that endo is like the worst for some reason. So it's good to hear that you enjoyed it so much. And I think it's cool too, because the other thing about dentistry that's awesome, and I'm not sure, I can ask you about your plans for the future in dentistry itself, but I think one of the cool things about it is, for example, if you're going into hygiene, nothing bad about hygiene or anything, but you're pretty much going to be doing the same thing for the rest of your life. It's prophies all day, every day. And I think with dentistry, we have so many different avenues that are naturally part of dentistry, and then also that we can expand out into. Now dentists are doing, you can bring implants to your practice, you can bring sleep to your practice, you can bring adult ortho to your practice. There's all these things that you can do, and you can pick and choose. You can go out and take continuing education, CE, and add things to your practice, which I think is so cool. And so I know myself, and I know how I get into things just in life. I get into whatever it is. And I think that'll happen to me in dentistry where, I'm 5-10 years out of dental school, and all of a sudden I want to do this new thing, and I can go out and do that. So what are your plans for the future? Do you have that kind of figured out? Do you have some thoughts on it? Where do you sit with that?
Yeah, I don't mind at all, bro. I kind of talked about this too before, where like, when you go into undergrad, how many people around you, including yourself, end up changing their majors?
It seems like everybody.
Everybody, right? And the same thing happens even in dental school, bro. Before the first semester is over, usually people that want to specialize, they're like, yeah, I'm going to be an endodontist. I want to be an oral surgeon. I want to be an orthodontist. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then once they start dental school and they go through like the hurdles, or they rotate through different specialties, they find out, yeah, that's not the move. So, you know, I told myself when I started dental school, I might not specialize, but I'm going to keep that door open in case I rotate through a rotation. Like, bro, that's so cool. I want to do that. And at this point of my life where I just, not my life, sorry, my dental school journey, you know, I'm now learning about the specialties hands-on for the first time. Like, I just rotated through oral surgery. That was amazing. I just rotated through the special needs clinic. And there's lines of other rotations, you know, just scheduled in for the rest of my year. And I think that's the best time for any dental student to kind of figure out, hey, is specializing an option for me or not? So even at this point where I rotated through some of the specialties, I don't think I'm going to. Like you said, I kind of want some variety in terms of what I will be practicing with every day. So as of now, I would just want to be a competent, good general dentist that can do a lot of everything. Yeah. So that's my plan right now.
I love that, dude. And that's, I feel the same way. I'm general all the way. I preach that general dentistry is great, and that's why we got into dentistry. So, but I also know a lot of people who would say the exact same thing that you just said, where they kept their options open. So my advice to a young dental student would be to keep your door. If you don't have like a plan, for me, I have a plan. I know where I'm going to be working, but if you don't, then keep your grades high, keep your options open, because like you just said, you don't find out what you enjoy within dentistry until, like you're saying, the beginning of your third year, perhaps. Because when you're in the beginning, all we did this year was pretty much operative dentistry, which is like the bread and butter that everybody has to do, you know, going through, and a lot of people give up and stop doing if they go in and specialize and stuff. So you don't know what the hands-on, you have no idea. And we didn't even learn about a lot of the specialties like in detail. I mean, we obviously understand the dental specialties, but just knowing how they function day to day, knowing what they're like hands-on, it's just not going to happen until you're able to see it. And so I think you're spot on with that. Keep your options open, and even if you're like me and you have your future kind of set up, you know where you're going to be, you still have to work, because I had to, especially this semester, I really had to work hard to keep my head above water at times. And part of that had to do with my other obligations that I've kind of put on myself with YouTube and boot camp and everything. But I had to work hard to survive, because it just is a lot. It's a lot to go through, and it's more than undergrad as far as material, but it's just a different type of pressure. In undergrad, I was like, I had to get A's and everything. And here it was just like, I have to get through all of these lectures. I have to just try to learn as much of this material as I can and pass.
Exactly, bro.
So
exactly.
It's a weird mindset shift that a lot of people, I think, struggle with. I saw a lot of people in my class have a hard time turning off that competitive mentality of, I have to get A's on everything, because we're so geared towards that. So, but let's talk about outside of dentistry. I know your answer is probably going to be YouTube, but what do you like to do outside of dental school and dentistry?
Yeah, man. Honestly, this is an important thing. You can't just be stuck in the books and just be in school mode the whole time, whether it be, you know, this stuff that we're doing, YouTube or not. But what I do personally, aside from all this camera stuff and whatnot, I love playing basketball. I love, you know, just the outdoors. And I think moving to Arizona was the best thing that could have happened for me, because there's so much nature here, and there's so much like to do in terms of hiking and just, you know, going to a different trail or going to a different mountain. I just love that stuff. And, you know, just being here and being surrounded by people that are also witnessing all this natural beauty for the first time, they're always down to check new things out. So I love that type of stuff, and I just love chilling with friends, you know, just getting together and just relaxing and stuff. So yeah, those are the few things that I involve myself in, bro. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I think an interesting, and I've also talked about this in the past, but I think an interesting realization for me in dental school has been the fact that I feel like I'm finally in a position in my life where I can actually start to do the things that I wanted to do, which is weird, right? Because you think going into dental school, I'm not going to have time to do anything. I'm not going to have time to breathe or live my life. And yeah, it feels like that sometimes, but in reality, this is like the first time where you're like, for the most part, you're kind of set, right? Like you've gotten there, and you're also growing up, and you're entering your kind of mid-20s, and you're able to finally start living your life a little bit. And so one thing for me is similar. I found exercise again, and it changed for me because exercise when I was growing up was always for a purpose. It was always for a sports team, a sport. It was to get stronger, faster, better for competition. And then I went to college, and I kind of was like, I don't have to do that anymore. And then I got out of college, and I got into what I would call my adult portion of my life. And I realized that actually exercise was something that I could now do on my own terms. And it really was going to benefit me, mind and body, everything. And so I've like fallen in love with it again. And that's just an example of one thing that I have the ability to do. People ask me all the time, do you have time to like work out and stuff in dental school? And I'm like, heck yeah, I work out every day. Like, and it's my favorite thing to do every day. Cause if I didn't, I don't know what the heck I would be doing, you know?
Exactly.
And the same can be said for the social aspect. I think dental school is a great time to be around people, because something I noticed was in undergrad, you're coming across every single type of person in the book. A lot of them are not going to be as driven in school as you are. A lot of them are going to, want to do different types of things. And that's great. I think everybody should have that experience, because it's really important to see how you fit in to the world. But you get to dental school and everybody's got the same common goal. And you like, we'll go out to a brewery or a bar, and it's like every single person I talk to has an awesome story. And we have so many things that we can talk about, because we're all sharing this massive life experience together, and we all have very similar goals. So it's also a fantastic time for your social life too.
Absolutely. And you touched on how people ask, especially pre-dental students, are you going to have time to work out? Are you going to have time to just have, just free time in general? And the answer is always yes. Just like you said, you'll always have time for whatever you want there to be time for.
Right.
Whatever it is, if it's laying down on the sofa and watching TV and not doing anything, you'll have time to do that. If you want to work out, you can do that. You can do anything. You just have to, have a routine. That's the biggest
Absolutely. thing. Do you live alone? Do you live with friends? How does that?
So I'm actually married. So my wife lives with me.
There you go.
Yeah.
When did you get married?
I got married literally like 2 months before dental school.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, late congratulations. It's been a while now, but
thanks, bro.
Yeah, that was another thing that I didn't realize. Like, going to dental school meant everybody was either married or like gonna get married soon, which was cool too, just to see. It's really cool to see. It just, you feel like an adult finally. I don't know. It's a weird thing. But you finally feel like you're in that position. So I live alone, and I haven't talked about this a whole lot, but I think it's been nice for me because just having a studio apartment, I have the ability to schedule every day the way I want to, and I don't really have to worry about anything outside of it. And if I do want the social interaction, I can go out and have it. So
exactly.
Yeah, man. Well, you have positioned yourself in the business of giving advice, but I always ask my guests, what is your best piece of advice you could give to a pre-dental student? I know it's a tough question. You're like, you're going through all the different options right now, and you're like, what could I even say here?
I'd honestly tell whoever is watching this video, if you're a pre-dental student, and if you have any doubts at all about dentistry, I want you to make sure you did everything on your part to make sure it's something you can do every single day when you wake up. And the way any student can know that for sure is by shadowing or working. It's so common for people to think about dentistry or even medicine or optometry or pharmacy, like you name it, and before they look into what the field entails every day, they look into the requirements for getting in first. And that's fine, but you need to definitely make sure that you saw an extraction, that you saw a filling, that you saw a root canal. And did you actually enjoy it? Do you think you can enjoy doing this every day? So I would say just make sure dentistry is for you before you get into dental school. That's probably the biggest advice I can give anyone that's looking to apply.
It's great advice. And like we said at the very beginning of this, dentistry is very niche and it's not made for everybody. It's made for anybody, right? But not everybody should pursue it, because I think it's a challenging profession, and I think it takes a specific type of person. But at the same time, I completely agree with you. You have to get out, you have to see it, and you have to understand. You have to try to put yourself in that position and say, is this what I really want to do? Because you're going to be putting a bunch of time, a bunch of heartache, mind, body, soul, but also, most importantly, a bunch of money into this. And it's going to be very, very, very expensive to get into dentistry. And that is a serious consideration for a lot of people. I have a book that I need to read. I'm actually wearing the shirt right now. The White Coat Investor released a book on investing as a dental student, med student, and just basically how to start getting finances in the right position, I guess, in your life. And I haven't read the book yet, but that's one of my summer objectives. So yeah, make sure that you're the right person for it. I couldn't echo that more. All right.
But just one thing I wanted to say is sometimes people get scared and they get deterred from dentistry when they see that, yeah, I'm not going to be able to move my hands like this in this type of way. I have no manual dexterity. The thing is, you don't need to have perfect manual dexterity to get into dental school. You need to be willing to perfect it.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. So that's just the last thing.
No, absolutely. Yeah. None of it and that's the other thing too. I've had people ask, how can I practice for my hand skills for dental school? I'm like, yeah, there's not really any great way to do it, because nothing is going to be the same as using a handpiece and actually doing it. So, there are things that you can do to kind of start gearing towards it, but like that time and practice you're going to put in dental school. So I wouldn't be now, if you're somebody whose hand, you hold it up and it's like doing this, shaking like crazy, maybe it's something that you might want to consider. But don't worry if you feel like you can't do dentistry before you even get to dental school. Because it's like, I'm just, like I said, I finished my first year and I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And all of us do. So don't let that be a deterrent. And I don't say any of that to deter people. I just, like you say, I hope people recognize the profession and understand all of it. And I think that's what the beauty of what you are doing, especially because you're really good at pre-dental advice, is that you're educating students and you're giving them more information and arming them for their future decisions. So yeah, and you're doing great work. And honestly, man, I appreciate it, because you are the type of person that's going to make our profession better in the future. And it's beautiful to see. I'm really happy to kind of get in on the ground floor and watch all of this happen. And with that said, what are some of the things that you want to kind of promote and direct people towards, let people know where they can find you and where they can find your work?
Yeah, so I'm mainly on YouTube right now. And I actually do have some podcast episodes as well. And those are here on YouTube, as well as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as Google Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts. I try to be on those three because those are like the three most common ones. And I'm also on Instagram. So, just to kind of get like the daily kind of feel of what a dental school student kind of goes through, you can kind of check out my Instagram at OneMissionDMD. And, just to keep up with what's going on, like on a less daily basis, you can check out YouTube for that. Mm-hmm.
Cool. What's the story behind OneMissionDMD?
I honestly don't know. I kept telling myself, hey, do I want to put my full name on my YouTube channel? I know a lot of people do that. That's pretty common. But I don't know. I wanted to make like the name be all inclusive of like everything. What is the journey of a dental, driven person to like go through the process? So we all got that one mission of getting that DMD. So that's kind of like what it kind of comes down to. So yeah.
That's actually awesome. Mm-hmm. I was really excited to ask you about that, because that's one of the things I noticed. And I went through the same kind of thing where I was like, do I go with like my personal name and do like the personal brand, or do I come up with something else? And honestly, I'm not that creative when it comes to naming things. So I was just like, I guess I'm putting my name on it, and we'll just see where it goes. And I think also too, like, I want to create content because I just love like filming stuff, and I love that, and I want to create different types of content in the future, I think.
Yeah.
And I think as we grow and gain followers and subscribers and things, I think that those opportunities present themselves to expand, because you get people that are really loyal to your content. And I appreciate all of my viewers and subscribers, because nobody would be watching if it wasn't for them.
Exactly.
And I would probably still do it because it's oddly satisfying for me, but it really has made a difference to see real people watch and comment and say nice things. So everybody check my man out, and I'm going to have to invite myself onto your podcast.
I appreciate it. No, of course, bro. I actually wanted you to be a part of it for a while. I just haven't been able to sit down and, get that going. But, Steven, you've been doing some great stuff, and the growth you've had is absolutely amazing. I'm really proud of you. And, just keep on going, bro. Just never stop. Just keep doing it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. And I think that's the cool thing too. I would say the exact same thing to you, is that YouTube, it's like a snowball effect. You start at the top with this tiny little nothing, and you start rolling it, and it just gains size and it gains speed, and it's really satisfying. I'm kind of an analytical person. I'm not great with numbers in that strict sense, but I love looking at analytics. And so watching my channel grow has been awesome, because I can see how every time I gain some subscribers, it gets easier to reach more people. It gets easier to get more views and more subscribers in a way. And that's just the way that YouTube is built. That's the way the analytics work. And I don't, like I said, I don't do it for the numbers. I don't do it to gain a certain amount of subscribers, but it's extremely satisfying, because it's showing me that my work that I'm spending hours and hours on is actually being viewed and appreciated by a lot more people.
Exactly.
And I'm really pumped to see where it takes me, because I look at all of my inspiration that I had on 4 years on YouTube, and they all started in the exact same position we are. And I think the problem that a lot of people have is that they realize that they aren't gaining 100,000 subscribers in a couple months, and they give up.
Yeah.
And I don't blame people for that, because it's like you're putting in all this time and effort into it. But if you stick with it, all of a sudden you're looking at your channel and you're like, wow, I didn't,
Exactly.
I don't know if I ever would have realized it would have gotten here. So I know we could talk about YouTube for days, but I do appreciate the advice that you could give to my listeners, and just your perspective, because who wants to listen to me talk all day? I need to have other people who are driven and motivated, and man, I'm just excited to see where you go.
Appreciate it, bro. Likewise with you. You're gonna go through probably, in my opinion, the hardest year of dental school so far that I went through. So just be prepared for that, and just keep your head level with what's the end goal. Once you keep your mindset fixated that way, you'll be able to get through anything. So I wish you the best of luck in your next year of dental school, bro.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much, and likewise to you as well. Best of luck. We will be doing this again. I think this is
definitely.
It's been so cool. That the other cool thing about it is just establishing these friendships with people who I hope to someday meet in person. It'd be wonderful. Maybe we'll meet someday at CE and conferences and things.
Who knows?
I think there's just going to be a bright future for all of us, and I love that there's like this little community that's forming, and it's exciting, man.
It is.
We'll do this again. We will absolutely do this again.
Hey, man, who knows? I think our school has some Tennessee locations for our fourth year. You never know. I may be down there. We'll see.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey. Yeah, we've got a lot of. I think like you said, our fourth year, we have some of those externships where we go to a bunch of different remote, like rural locations and do dentistry, which I'm excited about as well. It's going to be fun to vlog it all, man.
It is.
Yeah, man.
All right, bro.
All right. Well, Tehaum, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
And we will talk to you again in the future.
Sounds good, bro. Till then.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Teeth Time podcast. I hope this conversation was at least somewhat enjoyable for you. Remember to check out my YouTube channel, that's Stephen P. Ray on YouTube, where you'll find plenty of visual content about the life of a dental student and creator. Also check out my Instagram at stephen.p.ray.dentistry. Long name, I know. I appreciate each and every one of you. This has been Teeth Time, and I'm out.